Okay. I stopped it and started it. So I
Oh,
think
okay, cool.
I'd record this and see how it went. And if it turns out okay, maybe I'll post that as well.
Okay, yeah.
So for my presentation, I was going to focus on like office workers because that's pretty much everybody that's in my BNA group
Right.
and my RGA group, I mean. And so, typically people have the same kind of posture where they're leaning forward, chest is rolled forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted, so I had went to an RGA meeting a few weeks ago, and the person that was there is a professional public speaker. So he gave us, this is how you want to do your presentation. You want to open with engaging the audience. You provide them 3 pieces of helpful information, and then you end with a call to action.
Mm-hmm.
So for my presentation, I was going to ask them, like how many people here sit at a computer for more than 4 hours a day. And then have them say, show me what a normal computer posture looks like. And I assume everybody's going to kind of like go like this.
Oh, yeah. They're all going to be hunched down and kind of lean to one side, their phone up by their ear,
Yeah. All jacked up.
All jacked up.
So and then I'm going to say, like, why do we care if people sit like that? Like, does this matter? And then talk about the fact that when we sit like that, it affects our ability to breathe because the chest is pressing in on the diaphragm. So you end up breathing with the muscles up here, which can actually increase your anxiety and sympathetic state. And then also how it causes, when you sit like that too, it causes the head to jut forward and it strains the back of the neck. And then it also shortens the pec major, so the muscles on the front of the chest. And then I wanted to mention that the trigger points from pecs can go into the chest, the breast tissue, shoulder, down the inside of the arms, into the lung, into the pericardium. So just so that they realize like why it is such a bad idea to have your pec shortened all day long.
Yeah, it's not just because mom said don't slouch because it doesn't look good. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a looks thing, and there's a lot of ramifications for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so for giving them some helpful information on how to help themselves with this, I'm going to say that the step 1 in addressing the issue is just having awareness of your posture. So just being mindful that when you are sitting like this, to take a moment and just try to roll forward on your sit bones. So just roll your sit bones forward.
Right.
And just by doing that action, how it lengthens the spine and kind of opens up the front of the body. So just have them play with that a little bit. And then secondly, another important thing you can do is release the pecs. And I'm going to bring the small yoga tune-up balls and give one to everybody and just have them do a check-in first where they just roll shoulders like back and forth. And then have everybody roll out like the same side. So like the left side, all the way from the sternal attachments, the clavicular attachments, and then like the body. And depending on how much room we have, doing some like pin and stretch where you pin the ball on the pec and internally and externally rotate. Mm-hmm. If we had time, like doing overhead is really eye-opening for people because that's where it's really like, oh my God, it hurts so bad.
Yeah, they don't realize. They're like, oh crap, my body is killing me.
Well, and that's why I wanted to talk about pecs because I feel like it's not often that people are actually like, oh, my pecs are so sore, but the minute you touch them, they're like, well, like it's.
Yeah, they're super sore. So you walk home? Are the other dogs out? I don't think so. You can walk them. I haven't seen them. These be fine. Dogs gotta walk,
Oh, yes. Yeah. Your marshmallow?
Yes, my marshmallow. But yeah, that overhead movement really, it can be really eye-opening between, what's going on with their pecs. They start to feel it in their lats a little bit. Yeah. I think that's really good. And it'll get people moving, which is really great because I don't know where your talk falls in your meeting agenda, but first in some groups it's kind of later on, so people are keeping them moving will definitely help keep the attention going.
And then after they do the rolling, I'm going to have them do a checkout again too. And I practice it on Tim, and I've seen this in my yoga classes too, that just by rolling, and you just like roll for like 2 minutes. And then when you do the check-in and just roll your shoulders, like you have more warmth and more flexibility there already.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, I think that'll go, that I think will it'll make it very real to the people that go, oh, okay, this is what she's talking about, bringing that awareness to my body.
And then kind of my call to action is going to be, if you can get like this much relief from 2 minutes of rolling, just think how much relief you can get from like a skilled pair of hands.
Right. That's just you doing it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like somebody who knows all of the attachments and the grain of the muscle and all of that kind of stuff. And then I like the idea of treating people who are like body curious, that like really want to know how their body works, why they feel the way they do, what they can do to help themselves feel better. And especially people who are like, I want to age well. I don't want to have to resort on surgeries or pharmaceuticals to feel better.
Yeah.
And then say, if you want to live your best life in your best body, I would love to see you. And then we're offering a special for RGA members where they can book with 3 sessions with me for $125. So it's like a third of the cost.
That's a sweet deal.
Yeah, I know.
That's a really sweet deal.
You know, when Randy told me that we could offer this, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to go to RGA and I'm going to tell people that they can do 3 sessions with me, and I am going to be like booked for weeks. And not one person has booked with me yet. So it was kind of eye-opening that, to your point, you have to build that the trust, the relationship of trust. I have to understand what you do, and I have to continue to work on my languaging around it too.
Yeah. Well, and there's in a couple of the trainings I've done, some of the coaches have said, you know, what are you discounting, like some of the psychology behind discounting services. And I'm kind of 2 minds of it, because I think an introductory offer like that might be really successful, especially if you frame it, in your presentation. It starts to take on more meaning for them. But then at the same time, I'm like, like Tiffany Kellogg that you said, you remember when you asked her, she's one of those, she's like, well, what can you add? She likes to think of it as what can you add as opposed to subtract. So one of the things that she suggested to me is, maybe add 15 minutes to the session if that is something, you know what I mean? Like if you wanted to strategize about other ways that you could do this, she said, maybe one thing you could try is add a 15-minute, like there's a massage therapist in Safety Harbor that does this. He gives away a little poker chip kind of thing. And it actually says, you can get extra 15 minutes on your session, or there's something else now, but I can't recall. But she said, things that you can add to like an enhancement, where they go, oh, you know what, I'm getting something a little bit more. Because I know other business owners that I've talked to, they go, oh yeah, I'll do a promo. But they're going, okay, how much do I discount it?
Yeah.
Is it drumming up the business that I'm hoping that it will? It's one of those things that you just kind of have to test it and measure it out. Like see, say, okay, I'm going to implement this and try it for 60 days. Let me try it for 90 days. Like see if you get the response that you wanted.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was going to say, like, if you say, okay, my RGA people, I'm going to try this. I'm doing my presentation tomorrow. And then, Heather, planning Heather says, okay, I'm going to see what this does. I'm going to kind of track who comes in over these next 60 to 90 days. Are they coming in because, of that presentation? Is it, are they referred to by my RGA members? If not, where are they coming from? And then you can go, okay, I'm going to present again, or, my next 30-second, maybe I'm going to frame this differently and try, a different strategy. One thing that I didn't do at the beginning, which I'm more conscious of now, is assessing how my marketing efforts, like what the return is on those marketing efforts. So, I mean, it's a little bit more tracking than I thought I would do. Like I've gotten a lot better at Excel at writing spreadsheets. But then I can kind of look back and see, like, if you had asked me 6 months ago or a year ago if I was tracking my referrals and where they came from, I would have said no, because I just wasn't doing it. Yeah. So at that point, I'm going, okay, how do I know that this is successful? I've got to see if that works. So I've become a lot more deliberate about, okay, let's try this. I'm going to set an evaluation period and then see how that's working for me. And if it doesn't, then I can, kind of recalibrate and figure something else to try.
Yeah. Have you guys ever played with offering like a free assessment for people as a promotion?
Oh yeah, I do that. I offer assessments all the time. Occasionally, like someone in my BNI group will go, I have this friend, I think you can help them, but I'm not sure. They're kind of skeptical, they've heard what you do might be like voodoo.
Yeah.
I go, you know what? Have them, if I can get permission to call that person, I'll call them and invite them into the office. I say, look, come on in. We'll do a 15-minute, I blocked 15 minutes to do an assessment. And if I think that I can help them, I will tell them as much.
Mm-hmm.
If I think that what we do may not be the best bet for them, I can tell them, and it's really that at that point it's no risk for them.
Okay.
And if they come in and we have that conversation, I find that more often than not they will end up booking an appointment.
And this 15 minutes, do you do like a full chart on them too, or is it more just like a discussion with their symptoms and stuff?
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
Our situation is a little bit different because when a person calls interested in talking to us, I'm going to speak to that person directly. So, right. I have the benefit of being able to kind of preview what's coming through the front door. So it's very rare that a person will come in and that I've not spoken to them, even if it's for 5 minutes. Okay. So that we kind of lay the groundwork for things I want to look for. I kind of do a short initial interview over the phone at that point, right?
Okay.
So it makes that, that 15-minute assessment that much more impactful because I've already got, I've got some background on the case.
Yeah. And just a logistics issue, when you book something for 15, like, do you have set, like you have appointments at 9 o'clock, 10:15, 11:30, 12:45, or?
Pretty much. But what I try to do is set aside some time during my week where I might book assessments. Like if I know that it's a low traffic part of my week, then I can go, you know what, I'll set this aside I'll set aside this time. And if I have folks that want to do an assessment, I'll try to schedule them during those blocks.
Okay. That's that's
right.
great.
Because that way, like I wouldn't necessarily do that at like the peak of my day. Mm-hmm. Number one, because I probably already have someone there. But, also it's, there's not so much juggling in my week because I try to keep it consistent as much as I can.
And do you have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
From week to week, are you like always busy on Fridays but slow on Mondays, or is there a pattern to what you see?
Yeah. I tend to not treat on Thursdays primarily because that's a networking day for me. So, sometimes Eddie and I will do part of our trade on Thursday.
Okay.
But otherwise, I try to set aside that for networking. So meeting other business people one-on-one, things like that. Mondays tend to be a little bit slower too. People are kind of coming back from their weekend rather. So Monday and Thursday tend to be quieter times. So like Monday mornings, I pretty much set aside for administrative purposes or if somebody wants to come in for assessments.
Okay.
And then for some reason, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's hopping. It's just, yeah. Fridays more so during the school year, but in the summer, I think people just like taking long weekends.
Yeah.
And then I do work some Saturdays. I work like 3 Saturdays a month.
Okay.
And so when I do those, I tend to get more people, those folks that, hey, it's last, hey, I know you work some Saturdays. This Saturday one that you're working because I need help.
Yeah.
And I do have some folks that drive a long way to get to us, and so it's just more convenient for them to come in on a Saturday.
Do you guys do any evening hours?
I don't. You know what? I've toyed with that idea, but I don't get a lot of people requesting evenings. Mm-hmm. I had 1 or 2, but they're even happier coming in on Saturday. So I said, okay, that 9 to 5, because my hours are basically 9 to 5. So, I said, hey, I work Saturday. Oh, I had no idea you work Saturday. Okay, I'll come in on Saturdays from now on.
Perfect.
So that works out. I'm much more productive in the early part of the day.
Me too.
And so, I want to give that last patient the same level of attention and energy and focus that my first one does. So I find like if I work past 6, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I start to sundown. Yeah. It's not a good look.
I'm the same way. Like by 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, I'm pretty much donesies. So
yeah, it's the reason that I don't like, I've toyed with, exercising in the morning versus exercising in the evening. And when I get home from work, the last thing I want to do is any of that. I'd rather get up early and do it.
Yep, me too.
So,
agreed.
But, I know not everybody likes that, but it's what works for me right now. So
yeah.
I keep doing that.
It just seems like your day is more under your control early in the morning too. It's like there's fewer chance that something weird's going to happen and interrupt what you want to do.
It's true. And then, when you have your own business, you're trying to run and develop your own practice. You're always, you have all the freedom of, running your own business, and you're in charge of, you're in charge of your own destiny, right? But at the same time, you also have that added level of responsibility. So there are always, little things that will pop up. Sometimes they're little things, and sometimes, you get a fire you have to put out. So
hopefully not literally, but yeah.
Hopefully not literally, right? That's why we don't like candles in our office.
Right.
No candles in the office. But, stuff always comes up, stuff you don't anticipate. And so I feel like the more that I can get accomplished, before 10 a.m., before 10 a.m. to noon, the better.
Yeah.
So, plus, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time winding down sometimes at the end of the day if there's too much happening in my world that day. So I try to keep it, let's keep all that stuff first half of the day.
Yeah, that is a really good point too, because I was just reading about sleep in my Primetime Health book, and like that's a huge reason why people can't sleep. It's just because their mind is racing. So it's like if you're going at 60 miles or really 100 miles an hour all the way up until bedtime, it's just, you need some decompression time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And what I've been doing lately that has really helped me, because I constantly have to-do lists in my brain.
Yeah.
I do that Ivy Lee method where you write down the 6 tasks that you have, your 6 top priority tasks for the next day.
Oh,
and
cool.
I write them I either write them in my little notebook or I put them on a sticky. So first of all, it's kind of like a brain dump, right? You just drop those ideas. And secondly, I don't wake up in the morning and go, oh crap, what am I supposed to be doing today?
Yeah.
Because I've had those mornings where I've woken up and go, oh my God, what is today going to bring? And that's like not even counting my patients. That's, like I've got stuff and things. So if I write it down, I think it helps.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. No, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you so much for giving me some feedback on this. And
yeah, I hope it's helpful. I know you're going to do great. It's great. You'll have their attention. How many people roughly are in this?
It varies. Like sometimes there's the first meeting I went to, there was probably like 20 people there. And every time I've gone since then, it's between 5 and 10. So they said too, like in the summer, their meeting attendance goes down. Everybody evidently goes to the mountains in Florida for the summer. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. And they don't have an attendance requirement. So yeah. I know that's one of the ways they're different. Like BNI, you must be there, or you must have a sub.
Yeah.
Which, some people say, oh, that's too strict. For me, I like the structure. The people that are there like the structure, which is why we do it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see why people go, okay, I'm on vacation and I'll see it, And if it is a smaller group, that'll kind of enable you to really, those people will have more focus on what you do. Because sometimes, like if it was like 50, 60 people, that's like herding cats. So.
Yeah. Well, and like you and I had talked too, I was originally planning on doing something with the Courageous Ball, and I'd reverted back to using an easy ball, because I'm like, people are going to be confused about how to even just like blow up the ball and like put the plug in it. It's like, it'll probably take 10 minutes right there.
I mean, it's cool, and the cordless balls are great.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of moving parts, and so some people, they're gonna be like, "What do I do with this?" And so, yeah. But it'll be really good. And once you have one under your belt, it'll get so much easier.
Good.
Yeah,
just have to make it through tomorrow.
Yeah, you get through tomorrow, and after that, it's like, oh, okay, nope, I didn't die. I'm good.
Yes.
I'm okay. Yeah, you'll have to give me the debrief afterwards and let me know how it goes.
I will.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Yay. How's your apartment?
What was that?
Your apartment.
It's here, let me